Good morning, friends. Welcome to our virtual open house today at the University of Hartford. I hope this morning finds you all healthy and safe and well. We're doing very well here at the university. We have an incredible amount of special precautions put in place. The campus is churning along, doing beautifully. Our students are following all the guidelines we could possibly imagine for safety. We wear masks everywhere we go. We have plexiglass. We have signs on the floor. We have testing every week. We've tested somewhere between 2,000 to 3,000 students. We have just a couple of cases on campus, and those students are being, cared for very carefully. So we're doing beautifully. We have incredible contact tracing. We have 14 full-time nurses that are helping us. We do wastewater testing. So I hope you're safe. I hope your family's in a good place. We're in a good place at the University of Hartford. It seems, while it's kind of surreal during this crazy pandemic crisis, it does seem like everybody's wearing the big hat and chipping in and trying to, make the best of it. And the best of it, in fact, is really good. The students want to be on campus. They want to be studying and working together, and they are pulling it off just magnificently. We have about 85% of our usual students on campus living in residence halls. Our classes are all offered in a kind of hybrid, flexible model. We have face-to-face classes, remote-only classes that are hybrid. You come A and B days. You can watch your class online synchronously or asynchronously. You can go to class face-to-face. So we're coming up with all kinds of creative solutions to make this semester as good as it possibly can be. And I think most students would say that it's very good, that in fact it's really close to their normal experience. We'd all like to be done with the mass, but so would you, I'm sure. So I'm proud of the university and the work we've done to have this be a safe semester. And we'll do the same in the spring, obviously. Let's hope by next fall that we're done with most of this. But whatever it takes, we will do what's needed to keep people safe and healthy and learning in the best environment for them. And that includes a lot of options that we've worked very hard to put in place. So I'm really proud of the university. So look, you're about to make a really big decision. You've made a decision to go to college. Good for you, because that's the most important thing you can do. We know that a university and college degree changes your entire life pattern. Your career will be different. The money you will earn will be hugely different. The person you become, the curiosity that will be developed in you when you study and work on campus and in college will be unparalleled in your life as an unbelievably transformative experience. So I'm jealous for the experience you're about to undertake. I'm happy for you. I'm glad you're dedicated to this purpose, and I want you to keep going. So look, I want you to go to college. I'd be happy if you went to University of Hartford, but I want you to go to college. It's the best thing for you to do. Why would you go to UHart? Well, I think there's a couple of reasons. I came to UHart myself 3.5 years ago. Perhaps the most important reason I came back or came here at all was that I thought the university looked like the real world. When you walk around our campus, the diversity of our student body and the population of our campus community looks like what the real world looks like. And that's very important to me. And it's important to you as part of your education. I would also say that I came back because I think the model of the University of Hartford is really powerful. We have these 7 schools, and in these 7 schools, we study subjects and topics and build towards careers that are absolutely specific and top-end, high-end, best practice professional training. But in those schools, you also get to realize that you can move around between the other schools, and you'll have a general education list of courses that you'll want to take. You'll have courses that are interdisciplinary in nature that you're going to want to take. We hold a very serious set of essential learning outcomes dear to our mission. We believe in certain kinds of experiences that I call the Hartford Promises. You will be a widely, broadly educated professional with all kinds of skills and training, able to step right into the job market, but do so in a holistic manner that also means you can communicate well, you can use technology well. Hopefully you can balance your checkbook, you understand the media and the economy. We're looking at all kinds of things to make your experience as powerful as it possibly can be, so that you can be great citizens, great professionals, and also just have a rich and bountiful life. So that is our mission. When you look around the campus and you imagine yourself a student here, I think that one of the greatest things that you'll want to think about is who do you want to become? How are you going to get good at it? And how are you going to use that for the service of others? That's kind of a mantra of learning, right? And when you're at the University of Hartford, you can do almost anything. I think we have 150 majors. We're adding new majors and programs all the time. We added a Bachelor of Nursing program just recently. We added data analytics just recently. We added new degrees in communications and computer science. So we're always on the edge of thinking about what society needs and what you might want to do. And as you move around the campus, you may stay in one major your whole time. You may move around. You may have two majors. You may have a couple of minors. You may do all kinds of things. But what we believe is a strength of ours is that if you were in one school studying, let's say, marketing or finance in the Barney School of Business, and you also really love poetry or art or music or architecture or perhaps even social and health sciences, you could go over to another school or college, engage in those courses with those faculty and with those students, and do so not in a small department where they kind of fool around a little bit in music. You'd go over to the Hart School, one of the top conservatories in America. So as you move around the campus, you're moving from schools and colleges of high achievement and depth, and not just kind of sampling things that are there for a typical liberal arts kind of undergraduate college where the departments are small. The other thing you'll notice on campus is that we are a pretty close community. We have about 4,200 undergraduates, about 1,800 graduate students. I like the size, to be honest. If you go to a much bigger school, you get a little bit lost. You're kind of a number. You pass people on the sidewalk all the time and realize you may never see them again. The University of Hartford, it's not like that. You're going to know almost everybody that's part of this community in a very short time. That's a good feeling. It's an amazing group of faculty and staff that are here to help you, and you're going to get to know a lot of them. But most importantly, you're going to get to know your peers and fellow students really well, and they will be your friends and your contacts for the rest of your life. I can tell you that I'm in contact with my college roommates and college friends almost every single week, and they've changed my life in such powerful ways. So I believe that the size is another great factor here. It's not so small that we can't offer the depth and high professional achievement degrees and majors that we need to, but it's not so big that you get lost. So what I'm saying here is I'm giving you some qualities about the University of Hartford that are special to us. You may decide those are the right qualities for you. You may not. And if you decide something else, great, go to college. It'll be okay. But if you decide that this shape and size, this professional structure, and this ability to learn across disciplines and to make yourself a really broadly educated person, able to approach and tackle almost any career you can imagine, if that's the right thing for you, then I think the University of Hartford is the right place for you as well. We're investing like crazy in our student experience. We just built a big addition to the Barney School. We've added a Center for Student Success. Every single first-year student has a professional mentor advisor that is just theirs. They go to the center. You can stop in every single day. There were 6,000 visits there last year by first-year students. You can find a peer advisor. You can find tutoring. You can find extra help. You can go to the writing center. You can get go to the counseling center and get help for your social and emotional well-being. Almost anything you need can be directed through this Center for Student Success. Here's what I'd like to tell you. If you come to University of Hartford, I promise that we will do everything we can to get you to a graduation and to get you into a great career. 92% of our students got employed last year or went to graduate school. Most of them, many of them staying in Connecticut, which is great. Many of them, of course, staying in New England. But the Center for Student Success has been, in fact, a great success. The retention of our students from first to second year is at an all-time high. Our students are succeeding like crazy. They're staying. They feel they have a person to go to with their issues and their problems and their questions to help them guide them through their path. When you become a sophomore, junior, or senior, you'll also have an advisor in your major. So you'll have a finance professor if you're working on finance. So I think it's another great shape that works well for us. I could talk all day about the University of Hartford. I love it here. I'm amazed at our student body and how well they're behaving. I'm amazed at our faculty and staff and how hard they worked to make this semester come true. I'm quite impressed with our response to the pandemic, but I'm also really impressed with the ingenuity, creativity, and dedication of our students and how hard they work to make this experience a powerful one. This is a really special place, an incredible diverse student body, an incredibly dedicated student body, and a place where you can find almost anything you want to do at a very high level. Not at a tinkering level, at a very high level, because our schools, the Barney School, the Engineering School, the Music School, the Art School, the Liberal Arts Schools, the Education and Health Profession School, they are all, each in their own right, highly ranked schools. Put them all together and it's an incredible combination. So look, good luck with your college search. I'm envious of what you're about to undertake. It's going to be fun for you. I hope that University of Hartford is a great fit for you. If it isn't, go to college, make the world a better place. We need you to help us out. Fix everything for us, will you? I appreciate that. So folks, best of wishes to you. Use the chat function here today to ask some questions and to talk to people. Use the question and answer session to have some questions posed and answered. Talk to the people you can in this virtual setting. Maybe come to campus sometime for a tour if you can. If there's something you think I can do for you, write me a note. It's just president@hartford.edu, and I'll make sure that the right person gets back to you unless I can help you myself. You're about to understand what I was talking about when I mentioned our great students, because you're about to meet Kalia White, who is a junior in the marketing program in the Barney School. And I think she has a minor as well. I can't remember exactly what it is, but Kalia is an amazing student at our school, representative of the kind of student we have, and representative of the friends you're going to make and the people that you're going to be your peers if you come to the University of Hartford. Good luck to all of you. Stay healthy. Hope I see you next fall. And now, Kalia, it's all yours.
Thank you, President Woodward, for that amazing introduction. Hi, everyone. My name is Kalia White, and I'm from Long Island, New York. I'm a junior marketing major and communication minor, and my goal in the next few years is to start a career in the sports entertainment industry. I applied to 8 schools my senior year, and I know the application process can be overwhelming, but I promise it'll all be worth it in the end. I visited campus about 3 times during my senior year, but I'll never forget my first open house because that was when I fell in love with the campus and knew it was meant to be my new home. Everyone was smiling and happy to answer questions. The campus was beautiful, and with all the information I had gotten, I knew the success of the student was high priority and it would be my perfect match. I know navigating your senior year during this pandemic is a tough task, but the best advice I can give you is to take this time to utilize all your resources. Talk to your guidance counselors, follow schools on social media to see their culture, and most importantly, don't be afraid to ask questions. Although the pandemic is changing a lot of college norms, the university is working to keep experiences fun and true while safe. For example, I went on a hike about 2 weeks ago, glow-in-the-dark mini golfing on campus last weekend, and later today I'll be going out to our fall festival where we'll have food trucks and pumpkin fading. Along with the great academic programs and welcoming campus, the commitment to students is one of the many reasons I chose UHART. The education and skills I've gained from being a Barney School of Business student has allowed me to intern at the Connecticut State Capitol, work with our on-campus marketing and communication team, and receive an internship offer from Travelers Insurance, all while growing my network. But to be honest, my story wasn't always perfect. I came into UHART as a physical therapy major and later realized that that wasn't truly what I was passionate about. The switch was absolutely seamless, and I knew I was in good hands with the help of my academic advisors. This is just another testament to how well the university works to ensure your growth and academic development. I say all of this to say I achieved this in only 2 years at the university because of the resources provided to me and every student. And you can do the same if you choose UHART. If there's anything I want you guys to remember, it is to keep an open mind and say yes to opportunities. Thank you again for your time today. I'm excited for the journey you're about to start and wish you the best of luck. I hope to see you guys around campus. Now, I'd like to introduce you to the Dean of Admissions, Rick Zeiser. He will be providing you with important academic admission information and getting you familiarized with UHART. Thank you.
Thank you, Kalia, and it has been my pleasure to know you almost since you got to the campus, and it's been wonderful to watch you advance through your program, through your majors. And by the way, to see you every week as a Red Key member. Maybe if some of the students decide to visit the campus, they'll be lucky enough to have you as their tour guide. So let me talk to you a little bit about the University of Hartford from a general admissions point of view. I was happy to hear that 93% of you have already begun your application on the poll that we did. And that means you, like us, believe that that this is going to be as normal a year as possible. And when you start college in the fall next year, it's going to be a great experience for you. So I'd like to start with talking about the University of Hartford in general. UHart is located in West Hartford, Connecticut. It's a beautiful town with lots of hiking trails, as Kalia said, and an active town center with many shops and restaurants that our students enjoy. In fact, I guess I would say that our students consider West Hartford and all it has to offer to be our college town. We're only a few miles away from the city of Hartford, which is the capital city of Connecticut, that makes internships and experiences with the state government possible for many majors that we offer. And of course, all of the companies and corporations that have their headquarters here in Hartford, which of course includes the insurance industry, the defense industry, high tech, you name it. And there is a business or corporation either in Hartford or in the Hartford area in which you as a student can enjoy an internship experience, I will say, with any major that you may have. And you'll have an opportunity to hear more about internships and career possibilities later in the program. If you want to venture out a little further and you're not right from around our part of the country, Boston and New York City, with all they have to offer, are an easy and comfortable 2 hours away. The mountains in Vermont and New Hampshire and the beaches of Rhode Island and Connecticut are all a short drive away. So we are a wonderful location in New England and in the Northeast. As you can see on the slide, and as President Woodward mentioned, our full-time undergraduate enrollment is about 4,100 or 4,200 students coming from all 50 states and 51 foreign countries. So there are students here from every background that you can imagine within the United States and from around the world. And I can't stress what that means for you as a student and the friends that you will make here and the friends that you will have lifelong. I still get messages and emails from students who worked in my office who literally live all over the country and all over the world as a result of their time at the University of Hartford. Student-faculty ratio is 9-to-1, but let me tell you something that I think is even more important in illustrating what the University of Hartford experience is like here. Listen carefully to this statistic. 72% of our classes, 72% of our classes have 20 or fewer students in them. 97% of our classes, which is virtually all of them, have 29 or fewer students in them. So are you going to get to know your professors? Absolutely, positively, because that is the way we are set up for students to experience the University of Hartford. in settings where you will know the students who are in a class with you, and where you will certainly know your professors. The University of Hartford has 7 schools and colleges. If you aren't familiar with higher education lingo, think of them as divisions. And you can see on the screen the colleges that we offer in business and arts and sciences and education and health professions and music and art, and with well over 100 majors. You know, every university, and especially the private ones in our part of the country, have an interesting, rich history. University of Hartford, in case you didn't know, the first school of the university was the Hartford Art School. And in 1877, Mark Twain's wife, Harriet Beecher Stowe, and Elizabeth Colt started the Hartford Art School as a school of their interest. About 100 years ago, the Hart School was founded, and a liberal arts college that was the ancestor of our College of Arts and Sciences all came together in the interest of developing a private university in our area, on our campus. And we have grown now to what the university is today: 7 schools and colleges, 100 majors, students from all over the country and the world. I like to say, study what you love. This is a little bit of a crowded screen perhaps for you to see, because we're trying to give you a representation of all of the majors and programs of study that we offer. I will only say this, that the majors there, if you looked at them quickly, would range from business analytics to vocal performance, from prosthetics and orthotics to early childhood education, from biomedical engineering to digital media and journalism. And what that means, that's like an added feature. So I talked to you about where students are from, who you will get to know. The next piece is where they're from and what they are studying. You might be a dance major and your roommate is going to be studying prosthetics. You may be an engineering major and your roommate is a clarinet performance major. It is another piece of the University of Hartford experience that will help to make it a rich experience. I want to stop for 1 second and make sure you understand that when I get to the end of this short presentation, I would love to hear from you in our Q&A feature for any questions that you may have. So if questions are coming to your mind right now, go ahead and line them up in the Q&A, and we will address them in a few short minutes. If you were on the campus right now, you would see a very impressive building that is in the midst of being completed. Guess when? For next fall. So students who come here in the fall of 2021 will have the opportunity to take classes in our new academic building. Specifically, this is going to be for students in some of our health professions, with simulation labs for physical therapy, for occupational therapy, for our other allied health programs, and then makerspace and new facilities for some of the majors in engineering and technology. In addition to that, the facilities that we currently have for the sciences and health professions and engineering are also going to be fully renovated. So the facilities, in addition to the ones that Dr. Woodward talked about in the business school and the Center for Student Success, are going to be phenomenal come next fall. It's hard to describe what the opportunities for students are on our campus. We have a 300-acre campus, and you'll hear from our students later in the program. So I'll only mention that there are tons of clubs, more than 400 performances in the Hart School, 17 NCAA Division I programs. Students interested, let me say this, students interested in the arts, whether it's performing arts or visual arts, who are not majoring in any of those programs, as President Woodward said, will have the opportunity to pursue music, to pursue theater in our drama club, to pursue art, perhaps taking a course in photography, glass blowing, anything that you could imagine that you want to do in a very serious way. A student may say, I've been playing the violin since I was in 3rd grade. I'm going to major in business analytics, but I'd like to keep playing in an orchestra. That is possible. Someone else might say, I want to learn how to play the piano. I'm going to use the time that I'm in college to learn how to do that, or to learn how to become a photographer, or to participate in shows as an onstage performance, or as part of the behind the scenes crew. Whatever it may be, if the arts are your thing, there are almost limitless opportunities here for you, whether or not that's your major. Finally, I will say just a thing about campus life, and that is that most of our students are not from Connecticut. And a common question that we get when we have students visiting on tours and things like that is about where the students are from and what the campus life is like here. This is a very traditional residential campus, 24/7. So this is a place where, in addition to all those activities that I told you about, where our students are going to be here, your friends are going to be here, whether you're from West Hartford or Honolulu, your friends are going to be here 7 days a week to do things with you on campus, in the community, and that adds another dimension to what the student life is like here. So let's talk about the admission process itself. I was really happy, as I said earlier, to see that according to the poll, 93% of you have completed or are in the process of completing your application. And you probably know that the Common App and our web housed app are the two application forms that we use for you to apply for admission here. Most of our students, if I had to guess, I would say 70–75% use the Common App because of its convenience for you to submit it to multiple institutions. But some students use our web-based app. It is, I'll say, less cumbersome, easier to fill out, and equally effective. We have no preference for whether or not you use the Common App or the web application. Let me just give you one little technical piece of advice. If you use the UHeart web app, make sure you tell your counselor that, so that when they submit your high school transcript and other information, that they know to submit it through our process with the web app and not the Common App. It's a technical thing. I hope you'll remember it. If you use the web app, make sure you tell them. We like to hear a little bit about you in a personal statement. Why you're interested in studying, what you want to study, how it is that your journey has led you to the point of selecting a college, selecting a major, or something special in your life that you're really proud of. Whatever it may be, it's an open personal statement. I love reading them, and we look forward to learning a little bit more about you through the personal statement. University of Hartford is a test optional school, so it is up to you whether or not you want to submit SAT or ACT scores. There is no major at the university that does not participate in the test optional program that we have here. So it is completely your decision. I will say, I know that because of COVID, many of you were not able to take the SAT last spring. We understand that. We are patient and understand that College Board and ACT have fall test dates that are coming up. Some of them may have capacity restrictions. Whatever it may be, if you are going to take the SAT and you want, or the ACT, and you want us to receive those scores, we will patiently wait for them. If you want to apply test optional, just indicate that on the application and we'll move ahead. Most of you will submit letters of recommendation from a teacher, a counselor, someone else who knows you well, and we look forward to reading those. And of course, finally, your high school transcript. Out of all of the information that we receive from you in the admission process, we like to see how you're doing in high school, what courses you've taken, what kind of trend you're setting, and if there's something you want us to know about your high school record that you've improved over the years. That's one that we commonly see. Go ahead and tell us about that. But your high school transcript is the most important piece of information that we receive. If any of you are transfer students, your high school transcript is needed only if you are going to be coming in with less than 30 credits or so. If you are a transfer student who has completed a full-time year in college, we do not need your high school transcript. A credit evaluation would be done on your college transcripts, and we will let you know what courses transfer and how they fit into your academic program. In general, courses of a grade of C- or higher will be transferred. Some of them are very easy to make equivalent, like Intro to Psychology. Others will be accepted as electives if we don't have an exact similar course. So I think now, financial aid. Very big topic, how to finance your education. And what I am proud and happy to tell you is that well over 90% of the students at the University of Hartford are receiving financial assistance from the university to help with the cost of a college education. As you can see on the screen, all of our applicants will be considered for merit or academic scholarships. You don't have to do anything further than submit your application and your supporting materials, and we will consider you for a merit-based award that, when combined with other sources, which I'll talk about in 1 second, this year gave an average student financial package of over $27,000 a year. That makes the University of Hartford a very, very competitive institution when it comes to costs, certainly with other private universities that you are considering, and very often with public universities, particularly if you're applying to a public university as an out-of-state student. Often, the University of Hartford and all of the benefits that I talked to you about earlier of small classes and attention from faculty will be available to you at a cost that is often surprisingly competitive. Academic, artistic, audition, which is music, and athletic scholarships are available, and the particular requirements for qualifying for an artistic or athletic or talent-based scholarship will be explained as the application process moves along. But again, if it's an academic merit scholarship, all students are considered for those once your application for admission is completed. And in the acceptance packets that our students receive, early notification not only of admission, but also the merit scholarships are included in those admission packets. Personally, I encourage all of our applicants to file the FAFSA. The FAFSA stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. And many of you will qualify for one or more forms of federal aid, which we can add to merit scholarships or add with additional University of Hartford funded scholarships if you file the FAFSA. The FAFSA is easy to find at FAFSA, FAFSA.gov. And after October 1st, you can file the FAFSA so that we can give you notification on need-based financial assistance as quickly as possible. So FAFSA.gov, October 1st, we ask you to file the FAFSA no later than February 15th for consideration of University of Hartford FAFSA-based financial assistance. Packages, by the way, are made up of grants, which translates as free money, scholarships, and grants from the FAFSA. Many students will take advantage of federal and private loans that are available, which do have to be repaid, but not until after graduation, in which time you work with your lender to develop a repayment program that is comfortable for you. And many of you will be getting either federal work study or an on-campus job. Not all on-campus jobs require work study. I have students such as Kalia who work in my office just as a part-time job, not requiring qualification for federal work study. So that's a word about financial aid. I guess I would leave you with this advice. At this point in time, don't worry quite so much regarding the details of how the financial aid office will work with you and your family to make a University of Hartford education affordable. Just trust the process right now, file your applications at the University of Hartford and perhaps at other schools that you're considering, with the trust that financial assistance is going to be there to allow you to pursue your interests and your dreams of what you want to do. I have a few minutes for questions that I hope you have been asking. Campus tours in person. We are offering tours 3 days a week at the moment. Student guided tours, just like they have always been, going inside as many buildings as possible, including the student union, including the library, including the residence halls. You will have a chance to talk to our students as you're doing it. I personally try and meet every single student and family that comes for a campus tour. So you can do that. We also have virtual campus tours that are led by our student ambassadors and admissions staff. And in either case, if you go to our website and click visiting, you will be able to sign up for either a campus tour or a virtual session. And as the year unfolds, we'll be offering additional in-person and virtual opportunities to attend a class and to have opportunities to speak directly with faculty about your interests and dreams. Who knows what you want to do? So let me take some questions. My colleague, Colette Renato, is with me to tell me what it is you'd like to talk. What do they want to talk about, Colette?
Hi, yes. So first, I just want to say that thank you, everyone, for your great questions. We also have staff that's answering questions from within the Q&A. So if we don't have time to take all of them live, please know that we will get you an answer. So with that, Rick, we are getting several questions about the idea of taking classes outside of your major. How does that work? Do you have to have a double major or a minor to do that? Can you talk on that?
Yeah, great question. So the University of Hartford, unlike other universities, I think, in many cases, does not have walls or procedures or processes that prevent students from exploring any areas that they want to study. Students in physical therapy that I know have an undergraduate minor in business. Students in business can have an undergraduate minor in photography. We have some students that will do double major. A very common double major, for example, is psychology and criminal justice. It would take me the rest of the day to list every possible combination that you should take. Just understand that in almost all cases, there are opportunities for you to combine your interests with other things that may or may not be related. I was over at the art school last winter watching a glass blowing class, and the student I was next to said, "What's your major?" And she says, "Respiratory care." She was interested in art. I should also say, this kind of opportunity is particularly useful for students who have not yet selected a major. And many of our students come with the idea that they're interested in too many things right now and haven't been able to focus in. The Center for Student Success, that you'll hear more about shortly in the day, has a very, very, very comprehensive and personal process to help students through the path or along the path of deciding on a major. And it's good to know that if you think, well, I don't know, maybe I would like to be a teacher, there's a course called Intro to Education that you can take. I don't know, what's business all about? There's a course called The World of Business that you can take. So whether it is you have decided on what it is you want to study, or you're still trying to figure that out, there are almost no courses that and no areas of study that you can't put your hands into to make as part of your program. What else, Colette?
That's great. It's actually a good segue into another question we're getting in terms of if you are coming in undecided. You spoke to the great resources once you're here. Can you explain how a student should go about applying if they are undecided?
Sure. We do offer admission to students who have decided on a major directly into that major. We also have many students who, as I said just a second ago, have not selected a major. And whether it's the Common App or the University of Hartford web app, there is an opportunity for you to say that you're undecided about your major. On the other hand, I always tell students, if there is an area that you are potentially interested in, and you'd like to explore, and sometimes I say, you know, if you're 50% decided on a major, at the University of Hartford, I would say go ahead and apply into that major so that you can begin the process of exploring it, with the understanding that there is no penalty or no restriction for you to say, yep, I thought I might be interested in this. I'm glad that I took some introductory courses in my very first semester, which is what would happen. And now I know better that that's not what I'm going to study. And you can change your major to another area. You can change your major to undecided. So it really is your choice as to how focused or not focused you want your application to be. Any others, Colette?
Okay, I think we have time for one more. So again, everyone, keep your questions coming. We will get to them within the Q&A, even if we're not able to get to them right now. But Rick, we had a question about athletics and what life on campus is like for a student athlete.
Okay. The most important thing, and it's particularly important since you use that expression, Colette, which is the right one to use, student athlete. Our student athletes are students first and athletes second. And we demonstrate that. Just yesterday, we had a family visiting, and Dad asked me this very question. And I was so very proud to be able to tell him that the America East Conference, which is our conference, a number of years ago, started an award called the Academic Cup. It's actually named after Walter Harrison, who is the former president of the University of Hartford and was quite active in America East. But the Harrison Academic Cup has been around, I'm going to say, for 5 or 6 or 7 years, to recognize the athletic program in our conference that has the highest grade point average of all the students, all the athletes on the rosters. And I may be wrong, but I'm not wrong by much if I say the University of Hartford has won that cup 5 out of 7 years, perhaps. I should also tell you that we play at a very high level. Our men's basketball team was literally on the way to play for the conference championship the day last spring when athletic programs were shut down. Our women's volleyball team played for the conference championship, and both of our soccer teams played for the conference championship. Our baseball team has been into the playoffs, the NCAA College World Series regionals. So not only are our students completing their degrees, but they are also excelling in athletics at a very high level. We have former athletes in the Baseball Hall of Fame. So this is a place where you will do well as a student and have the opportunity to compete at the highest level that the NCAA allows. And I think, Colette, that we need to let them go into a short break before the next session starts.
Yep, that's correct.
So thank you for your attention, everyone. And I hope that I will see many of you when I come out to greet the tours Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And good luck, stay safe, and go Hawks.
All righty. Good morning, everyone. My name is Nathan. I'm one of the assistant directors of admission here at the University of Hartford. I work specifically with students from the upper New England area, so Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Mass, and Rhode Island. So if any of you are from there, feel free to connect with me at some point. I love having a name and emails to a face, as we're going through this process together. But more importantly, we are here for a student panel. So feel free to drop any questions you folks have in that Q&A that you'd like to hear from a student perspective. We have 6 students with us this morning who are going to, do their best to answer questions, but we're going to have them start off just introducing themselves. So Mary, if you don't mind coming in first and doing a quick introduction.
Sure. So hi, my name's Mary Bilodeau. I am a sophomore in architectural design and technology in the College of Engineering, Technology, and Architecture. And then just some clubs that I do here at the university. I'm part of our drama club, or Dramatis Personae. I'm part of AIAS, which is an architecture club, and CAT, which is now known as the HEAT, or the Hartford Events and Activities team.
Awesome. Thank you, Mary. Emily?
Hi, everybody. My name's Emily. I'm a junior at UHart, and I'm studying radiologic technology.
You're a little quiet there. I'm having trouble hearing you. I don't know if anybody else is as well.
Can you hear me better now?
I cannot. You're still pretty late. I'm gonna go on to John if you want to try to resolve some of that. John, if you want to pop in and do some introduction.
Oh yeah, so hi, I'm John. I'm a psychology major from Deer Park, New York on Long Island. I've been involved in quite a lot of clubs and orgs throughout my 4 years. I'm a senior, so feel free to ask questions.
Awesome. Thanks, John. Haley?
Hi, everyone. My name is Haley Scammell. I'm a senior performing arts management major. I'm from Scarborough, Maine. I am the director of training for the Red Key Society. I'm part of UHarmony's a cappella, and I'm also a resident assistant on campus.
Awesome. Thank you, Haley. Kevin?
Forgot I was muted. My name is Kevin. I am a 4th year mechanical engineering student with a concentration in robotics. I'm from Lowell, Massachusetts. A few things I'm involved in are ultimate frisbee. I was a red cap orientation leader, and I'm part of the Red Key Society as well.
Awesome. Thank you. And last but not least, Isabel?
Hi, sorry. I'm a junior majoring in prosthetics and orthotics. I'm from Long Meadow, Massachusetts, and I'm involved in the pep band, and I also play ultimate frisbee.
Awesome. Thank you. And I know Emily is running to grab a set of headphones that have a microphone. So I'm going to open it up again to questions. Feel free to drop anything you have in the Q&A. But in the meantime, I'm going to start with, let's see, I'm going to ask Mary to talk a little bit about what it was about the University of Hartford that drew her in when she was doing her college search.
Yeah, sure. So in my junior and senior year of high school, I probably toured the school and upwards of like 5 or 6 times. I was here all the time. So I got to see how much the university actually does for its students. There's so many different opportunities to succeed academically. We have tutoring services in the library that are open to all students. And if you feel that you are, you understand the material in your classes, you can also be a student tutor. So I thought those academic resources were a super good draw into the university. And then I also just fell in love really with the architecture department. We have such wonderful spaces down in the Harry Jack Gray Center with additive labs for 3D printing and laser printing, as well as a wood shop that you get into your freshman year, which I really like the working hands-on aspect of architecture. So I think that's kind of what drew me in, is all the resources that the university kind of has available right off the bat.
Awesome. Thank you, Mary. We did have a question come in. Isabel, I'm going to have you talk a little bit about this one. Someone wants to know what the typical class schedule looks like for your first couple of years in the prosthetics and orthotics program. So if you just want to talk a little bit to what you've taken over the last couple of years, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, sure. So my first year, I took a lot of gen eds. So I was taking like my chemistry class, my my bio class. I took computer science. And then your sophomore year, you take anatomy. So a lot of things like that. But your sophomore year, you also take your first prosthetics and orthotics class, which is really cool. So you do get that experience early on to make sure that it is actually what you want to do, and just to kind of keep the program more excited and more focused on like what your end goal is. So you can also like add in different electives to spice it up a little bit. So I think it's a really great start.
Awesome. Thank you, Isabel. John, coming from Long Island, can you talk a little bit about kind of the transition you had to take to go from, you know, living out there to coming to Hartford?
Sorry, I was taking forever to unmute. Like, what do you mean? Like, just the transition in general? Like, how would you?
Yeah, no, yeah, just kind of how the shift went for you going from, you know, living at home to living on your own a little bit in the college world.
So I would say I struggled quite a bit. It is tough for some people. It may be easier for others. But definitely the workload just in general in college is more than you would see in high school. Due dates come up quicker than you may think. You're not meeting at class every day. There's classes that you meet once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week. It's not a class that's meeting every day. So I really did reach out to students in my class, you know, to have like study groups. I reached out to tutors. There's free tutoring, so it's no cost for anyone. And also, if you do want to become a tutor, you could get paid by the university to do that as well. So I think the number one thing was really just the classes for me. Like making friends and the social aspect for me was easier, but it was really just the workload of the classes. So I would just, you know, I would persuade students to, you know, speak to the professors, speak to other students in your class, and definitely reach out to the tutoring services.
Awesome. Thank you, John. I think we have Emily back. So Emily, if you want to just do your quick introduction, and then we'll keep dropping those questions you guys have in the Q&A. We're going to address those as we go through.
Hi, can you hear me better now?
That's much better.
Okay, perfect. My name's Emily. I'm in the Radiologic Technology program and I'm a junior this year. I have been involved in a variety of clubs throughout my 3 years here so far. If you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Em. Kevin, I'm going to have you hop in on this question. One of our students wants to know a little bit more about the engineering programs and what those classes look like. So if you want to speak to your experiences in mechanical engineering.
Yeah, so, you know, I mean, your first, I'd say like your first 2 years you're taking really just general education courses. So you're taking your calculus 1 and 2, multivariable, differential equations. Like you're really just building up your entire math core, because at the end of the day, that's all engineering is just a lot of math and like applying math. So you're really building up those math courses. You're also taking a lot of science, for example, physics, a lot of physics type courses and stuff like that. And then your junior year is where you start seeing specifically like the specific engineering course that you're in. So for me, I start seeing specifically mechanical engineering courses. But also your freshman, sophomore, and your senior year, you actually participate in something called the CETA Design Expo. So it's where it's different every year every year that you do it. But for my sophomore year, we're put into groups based on like world problems that we kind of like that came to our heads, and we have to create a solution, and then we actually get to build it. So my sophomore year, we focused on cleaning waters, you know, so people can drink out of like streams and lakes and stuff like that. And luckily, we were able to test our product and stuff like that with the river that runs through campus. And we were actually able to clean the water, and I drank it during the CETA Design Expo my sophomore year. So it's pretty cool. People come around, judge you. There's a finalist and stuff like that. It's really cool to kind of get your exposure to different companies and different people in your major or within CETA too.
Awesome, Kevin. Thank you very much. Someone asked, Haley, I'm going to bring you in on this one. Someone asked a little bit about whether or not you could minor in performing arts management with a major in vocal performance. Yeah, I know that's your major. So do you want to touch on the Hart School and some of those opportunities?
Yeah, so there is a performing arts management minor. It's one of the more popular minors in the Hart School. Whether you can totally do that if you're a vocal performance major, it's just a matter of kind of your schedule and how rigorous you want it to be. I will say with most Hart courses, you're taking more classes than anyone else, just in part because our classes are set up a little differently. So like we have a course where you go and watch other performances but it only counts for 1 credit. So you can totally fit it in. It's an abbreviated version of the major. So you're still getting the basics in arts management. You're learning both the for-profit and the nonprofit side, but it's definitely possible.
Awesome. Thank you, Haley. John, someone had a follow-up question about paid tutoring and wanted to know what the process is to become a tutor and if you needed to be an upperclassman to do so.
So the tutoring center, I believe, is on the lower level of the library. Usually, I believe you need to have, I believe, an A or an A minus in the class. So I believe like in a certain class, like for example, let's say you got an A in Calculus 1, you could go and be a tutor for Calculus 1. I don't know if someone could correct me on that, but that's how I believe it is. Like it goes by the course. So I believe you'd have to have a high grade in order to tutor that class. Because if you have a lower grade, it would be obviously difficult for some other student that may be struggling.
That's correct, John. And typically to pair with that, I know part of the application process includes getting a letter of recommendation from the professor of that course. So these students that are doing the tutoring are vetted by professors, they're vetted by the tutoring programs, and they're very much qualified to give you some assistance throughout the semester. Jumping up to another follow-up question. Mary, someone wants to know a little bit more about Dramatis Persona.
Awesome. Yeah, so Dramatis Personae is our drama club for students who aren't in the Hart School. Most of our students are maybe in the College of Arts and Sciences. We have a couple from CETA, like I am, and we put on a couple performances a year. Our main ones are our fall main stage and our spring main stage, and then we do a community service and fundraising for women's, just anything regarding women's safety and health, and we do that in the month of February. But we do put on these 2 performances and you can be in them. I was actually an actress in one of our fall main stages last year called I Hate Hamlet. Or you can put in a director's proposal to actually direct that show. So our directors are changing every single semester. And then you can try to be on our e-board. So we have our president, treasurer, secretary, like normal e-boards, and then PR. So there's a ton that you can do in the club. I think it's a really, really fun club and involved for the past 2 years. And actually some of my best friends are on the e-board. So I seem like I'm always at at drama club. It's fun. So yeah, it's a super cool opportunity to do if you really do like expressing yourself and acting, or maybe being stage manager, and maybe you just didn't want to go that route. So yeah, take it from an architecture major in drama club. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Mary. Emily, somebody's asking to learn a little bit more about the outdoor club. Do you mind talking about that experience?
Hi. Okay, yes. Outdoors Club is a lot of fun. We get new participants every year, so the activities we do are based on who's in the club. I remember my freshman year, we were able to take a camping trip and we went on this beautiful hike and hiked up on a waterfall, and it was on the state border of New York and a different state. I don't remember which one, sorry. But we just do different activities like that. We've made like mini plants for fundraisers, gone on Talcott hikes up that mountain. We're hoping to do some hammocking and just anything you could think of outside is what we try to accomplish based on who wants to go in the club and do what.
Awesome. Thank you, Emily. Haley, I'm gonna bring you in here for a little extended period of time, so thank you in advance. First question I want to have you address is, what is it like studying in the Hart School as part of the Performing Arts programs?
The Hart School is great. It's definitely an adjustment, I will say. You go from, I didn't go to a performing arts high school, so I went from taking, math and English and science classes to living and breathing the performing arts. So it was very, very exciting, but it's also definitely a transition because, you're spending, depending on what you're studying, you could be spending, 2 or 3 hours every day practicing. And part of your, class schedule is your lessons and your coaching in addition to classes. So Hart is amazing. They've provided me with a lot of amazing opportunities. I've worked in the Hart publicity office as for an apprenticeship. I got to work with the director of comedy content at Pandora last year. So I worked with them, and I got to work with an up and coming comedian and work on a project with her. So they have a lot of really great opportunities. I know that a lot of our students in theater have a lot of really great connections. Our faculty a lot of them are current teaching artists at other venues throughout New England. So a lot of Goodspeed Theater in Connecticut, a lot of theater students get to do apprenticeships and acting apprenticeships with them. So the Hart School is just really great about getting their students practicing their craft as soon as possible, which I really appreciate because I think practicing your craft is just as important as learning about it.
Awesome. Another Hart question. Do you have to audition to be a music minor?
If you're there's a couple of different variations of the music minor, but there is a general music minor. And if you're doing the general music minor, no, you do not have to audition. If you're doing a music minor that's going to emphasize in a performance piece and a performance route, then you would have to audition.
Awesome. And then I know this question you were really excited to answer. How do you get into a cappella groups?
So I live and breathe a cappella on this campus. If you've seen Pitch Perfect, that's literally what a cappella is like, that competition in Pitch Perfect. It's real. The University of Hartford has actually hosted it the past 2 years. We're really bummed it's not happening this year. So we, at the beginning of every year, kind of the first week on campus, there's a club fair, and every club has a table on campus. And a cappella has a table. You would come, you would sign up, you'd get put on the email list. You can audition for you can audition for as many clubs as you want. We have 5 clubs we have 5 on campus, 3 co-ed, a female identifying group, and a male identifying group. U Harmonies is the female identifying group. You can audition for as many groups as you'd like. And then you kind of meet 4 to 6 hours a week to practice music. All the groups perform at gigs. We record songs. We prep to compete at ICCAs. But it's a very popular thing to be a part of. Each group is made up of 20 members, so they'll take anywhere from 5 to 8 people every year.
All right. Thank you, Haley. I'll give you a little break, catch your breath there after those questions. Mary, somebody's asking a little bit about the internship opportunities for architecture students. Do you mind diving into that a little?
Yeah, awesome. So we do have a ton of internship opportunities, and if you are looking into architecture, you do have to get a certain amount of hours in order to get your certification. So we partner with the Career and Development Office, and we make sure that our students are getting out there as soon as they feel comfortable. But we've had students in the past couple years internship at QA&M Architecture, SWAG, which is a firm that one of our professors in the architecture department actually runs. So there are a ton of opportunities that way. And then there are students who get architecture internships in maybe their junior or senior year, and those can go through, and you can actually be looking at maybe a career in that firm, or you can branch out and say, hey, I learned a lot from this firm, but I want to go to that firm. And they really work well with, do you want to work with small house architecture, green architecture, is there something that you really want to focus in on? And they can try to get you to a certain firm where they really focus on that. So they're super helpful in helping you get where you need to go and what feels most comfortable for you, which is awesome.
Awesome. Thank you, Mary. So one thing that, it's hard to not notice as we're going through and having, our different student panelists speak to their experiences is the backgrounds behind them. So I'm going to have you all go through and talk a little bit about, where you're streaming from, and, just talk a little bit about the different spaces on campus that you're utilizing right now. So Mary, if you want to start.
Sure. So I do a lot of my work in my room, but I also do a lot of my studio work in the actual studio. Little different this year. Usually you have your own desk, but they have desks set up for people to come in and do all their work at. And then to work in the workshop and like the wood workshop and our additive workshop, you just have to schedule a time so that you're in there with also a professor, but you're being spaced out, which is super awesome. And then we have wipes all around the studio. So you're wiping down before and after. And then people come around after hours, even though the architecture department's open 24/7. But there's people coming around all the time helping clean up. So that's a super helpful area of the studio, but I also do a lot of my work in my apartment over on the residential side.
Thank you, Mary. Em, you want to talk a little bit about where you're streaming from?
So I'm a commuter. I'm in my apartment right now. I live on a little bit of a busier road. Sorry if it's a little noisy, but when I am on campus, I do like doing work in the library, and in Dana Hall, there's a lot of good study lounges. That's where the most of my classes are, because I'm in the ENHP program.
Awesome. Thank you. John, I'm going to skip over you because we're going to segue into the next section. So I'm going to jump over to Haley.
I'm currently in one of our freshman complexes where I am a resident assistant for. So I'm in my room right now. But on campus, I am in the Hart School almost all the time, even in a pandemic. We still have our practice rooms open and stuff, so I still am able to sign those spaces out. I'm at GSU, our student union, quite a bit, and I'm also at our admissions house, Bates House, quite a bit as well.
Kevin?
So right now I'm actually streaming in my apartment on campus in the Village Quads. But I would spend during the week, I'll spend a lot of time in the admissions building at the United Technologies Hall, which is home to CETA, the College of Engineering, Technology, and Architecture, because they have a bunch of the labs, for example, maker spaces and computer labs and robotics labs that are in there that I would use a lot.
Thank you, Kevin. Isabel?
Yeah, I'm not home right now, but if I was home, I would be in the Village Apartments as well. And that's where I've been spending most of my time lately. Yeah. So.
Perfect. And last but not least, John.
So I am also not home right now, but I would normally be in the library. Your background, Nate. That is probably my favorite place to do work, homework, do study groups. There's a Starbucks right there in the library, which is very helpful. If you need coffee or anything to eat, drink. So either usually the library, I do hang out in the Janus, Hawk Lounge, or my room on campus. Those are probably my three favorite places.
Awesome, John. Thank you. One thing, too, before I jump into the next question, I want to point out is both John and Isabel identified as not being home, which I need to clarify is not on campus. So that speaks a lot to kind of the feel of the University of Hartford campus, is that it really does become your home. And students in the community itself buys into that. So the next question we're going to jump into, John, someone would like for you to speak a little bit more on the psychology program.
Actually, so the way I got into the psych program, I was actually undecided my entire freshman year because I was very unsure of what route I wanted to go. But with the psych program, you obviously need the intro to psych class. And then there's a whole bunch of domains that you have to take. So there's certain classes in certain domains. So there's a cognitive domain, there's a developmental domain, there's a biological domain. You have to take certain classes in each domain to fulfill that domain for the credits towards it. And then there's other electives you can take. I know a very favorite class on campus, a couple, there's stress and stress management, there's human sexual behavior. There's a couple other classes that students really do take, but you have to fulfill a course, a couple courses or a course in each domain, whether it's biological, cognitive, developmental, in order to get your degree. The classes can at times, it's usually a lot of papers, a lot of research papers. I know your junior and senior year, you're really getting to start doing research. So right now I'm currently in my research methods class and I have to do a whole like 15-page kind of research project. But like I said, it's all based on domains, and then you have electives that you could take, the ones that I mentioned.
Awesome. Thank you, John. Kevin and Isabel, do you two want to speak a little bit to the Ultimate Frisbee Club team and how often it meets?
Yes. So I know for the guys team, at least, we meet every weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Fridays normally we'll meet in a classroom where we'll go over a lot more of like logistical stuff of the team and kind of help players who don't necessarily like are better learning while like sitting down and actually drawing everything out. So it helps those players out, and then we'll practice like late morning to early afternoon on Saturday and Sunday. We'll practice on campus, off campus, whatever's easier really. And from there, we hold a lot of team bonding events, not just strictly guys team. We actually have a very close relationship with the girls team as well, because we do travel to a tournament together in the spring. And yes, we also do go to tournaments and all that good stuff, like during the entire semester and school year.
Isabel, do you have anything you want to add on Ultimate Frisbee?
No, I think Kevin pretty much got it all. The guys and girls teams pretty much, sorry, they pretty much do a lot of the same things. And we do like to spend time together. So it's a really fun group to be a part of. And you don't need any experience, so it's awesome.
Awesome. While I have you too, I know somebody had put out there that they'd like to learn a little bit more about pep band. Do you want to talk to that a little bit?
Sure, definitely. So pep band, we play for the basketball games for both men and women's, the home games. And then we have practices a few times a month usually. It's a really low-key and very fun and high energy club. And then if our teams do make it to playoffs, we usually try to travel. So we'll be going to different schools. And that's a really, really fun trip to be a part of.
Awesome. Thank you again. Haley, I'm going to bring you back out for a few more heart questions here. First off is, are there any performing arts internships or apprenticeships? I know you spoke a little bit about your internship that you had with Pandora. Do you want to kind of dive into that a little bit more?
Yeah, so for a lot of the programs, a lot of the programs in Hart require some form of extra education that's hands-on. So if you're music education, it's student teaching. If you're in music industry, the music industry umbrella, it's an internship. If you're a performance major, sometimes it's getting to perform, as an apprentice with the Hartford Symphony or with another local external orchestra. So depending on what you're in, there's lots of really great opportunities. I think my program and one other program are the only two programs that require an internship, but all of the professors and all the department heads really encourage it. So even if you are a performance, major, they really encourage you to still work in your field in some capacity during your time at the school. the Hart School also employs a good number of students, whether, you know, in any kind of capacity. Like I said, I got to do an apprenticeship in the publicity office last year, and I helped market the Heart 100 campaign, which was really exciting. And I didn't even have to leave campus. So there's a lot of really great options for students in all of the programs.
Awesome. Thank you. Someone wants to know a little bit about a cappella and if you need to have experience or if the clubs and organizations kind of help guide you in those senses.
You definitely don't need to have experience. They're also not clubs geared toward Hart students. They're open to all university students. That's our big selling point, is that Hart students are welcome. We have a lot of Hart students, obviously. But we also have a lot of students who aren't in Hart. My music director of my group 2 years ago was a physical therapy major. So it's open to all students. You don't need to have experience. You don't need to do choir, a cappella in high school. You just have to like singing and performing, and that's really the requirement.
Awesome. And then somebody's asking about students in the Hart Music School. Is it manageable to be a part of clubs like a cappella, and can Hart students easily minor, or are they typically very focused on their majors?
So this is going to be I'm sure this isn't the answer everyone wants, but it's student to student based, some students get here and they find that they want to focus more on their studies and they want to focus more on their practicing, and they don't want to take their extra free time towards clubs or minors, and they'd rather put it towards extra rehearsal time and doing extra performances, which is an amazing opportunity. You get to practice even more. Other students will look to seek opportunities outside of the Hart School. Because you spend so much time in the Hart School with your academics, a lot of kids in the Hart School look to join clubs that aren't Hart related so they can meet other people. It's totally feasible. I have friends in all my clubs across campus from all different programs in the Hart School. And as far as minors go, it's definitely possible. Again, it kind of depends on the student and what you're looking to have for a workload. I will say Hart students have your workload's a little heavier than most students starting off the bat, but it's totally manageable. I mean, I was able to join as many clubs. It's just a matter of finding a good time management system that works for you, but it's definitely feasible to have a minor, to be in other groups, to get jobs on campus, to get jobs off campus, and to have internships.
Awesome. Thank you, Haley. I know Mary wanted to tackle a question quick about robotics and 3D printing on campus.
Yeah, so I saw there was a couple of questions about our robotics and our robotics club. So I can just say I have a little bit background in robotics. I was on my high school's robotics team in high school, our FRC team, and our VEX team. What we do here at the university is a little bit different. We are working on a couple of ongoing projects in the field of robotics with their two faculty advisors. So they work with artificial intelligence, real-time control systems, as well as humanoid robots, mobile robots, industrial robots, service robots, and drones. So there's a ton that you can do there. We also have two kind of like sub-teams in our robotics club, the Autonomous Mobile Robotics Research Group and the Assistive Robot Team. So there is a ton you can do there. I'm personally not a part of it, but I was on my a billion tours that I took prior to coming to the university. I got shown the robotics team so many times, and they're just such a cool club. A lot of people in CETA do it, as well as people from outside of CETA, if that's just an interest that you have. But it's about 50 students each year that end up being involved in this club, which is super cool.
Thank you, Mary. John, do you want to talk a little bit about, there was a question regarding recreational volleyball team or club?
Yeah, so we do have intramural sports as part of on campus. I know Kevin Kevin can mention about Frisbee and other club sports you may have, club soccer club, Frisbee, there's rugby. We also have intramural sports as well in the sports center. I know some include, I believe there's volleyball, I believe there's badminton, tennis. So like you said, if there's not just D1's just not overtaking campus. You do have opportunities to do intramural sports with your friends. I know fraternities and sororities on campus also take part in it. So it's just not D1 athletes that are athletes on campus. You can still just do sports for fun. It's not as competitive, kind of just have fun with your friends.
I'm going to pull Mary back in for a couple more questions. Someone wants to know what the workload looks like for the architecture program, and also if any architecture classes you took in high school helped you in college.
Yeah, so I'll talk about the high school one first, and then I'll move to the workload. But I took an architecture course in my senior year of high school that focused on the model building, AutoCAD, and then history aspects of architecture. And I think that class really, really helped me in my first year of architecture. It just kind of got me that running start that I needed to get into the major. But even if you don't have a class like that offered at your school, our architecture department is very good about taking so many different, everyone comes in with a different skill set. There are people that are very, that want to do everything hands-on. There are people that have background in AutoCAD, SketchUp, Revit, all those fun things. So I really think if you can take an architecture class in high school, do it. I think it'll really, really help. But if you can't, we're also very good about helping you get to where we want you. But then also for the workload in architecture, it really just, I will say sometimes does get a lot when there are projects happening. Projects are crazy, but there are tons of resources that can help you succeed. So something cool that we have in the architecture department is we have one giant group me with, I think it's like 80 architecture students in there from all the different years. And if you're ever like, oh, I don't really know what to do here, you can just text the group chat and be like, hey, has anyone taken materials and methods of construction documents, and can they help like tutor me, or can they do something in that kind of degree? But I think the workload is very manageable. The professors really will work with you, say like, hey, maybe I need like a day or two extra on this model. I have it good, but I want to make it better. And they're always going to be like, yeah, awesome. It's a very good workload. Yeah. And then I just saw some another question come in about programs in the architecture department. So we have just added some concentrations. We have a sustainability concentration as well as a construction management concentration. And then if maybe you can't decide if you want to do civil engineering or architecture, we have dual majors in civil engineering and architecture that you can start, that you basically start in your freshman year. You're going to be taking your architecture classes, your studio class, your freshman studio class, but you're also going to be taking the introductory engineering class. So that's something that you can do as well. I have a couple friends that have done that. And you can also combine those. You can be a dual architecture and civil engineering major with a concentration in construction management. So there's a ton of flexibility that you can do with our architecture department.
Awesome. Thank you, Mary. Haley, I'm going to bring you back in for a couple more heart and performance related questions. The first one was about any open mic nights on campus that might not be specific to music, but just opportunities for students to get in front of a microphone, whether it's poetry or, spoken word. And then how many practice rooms are there for performance majors, and is it hard to get into them?
So open mic nights, the open mic nights that are usually hosted are actually not necessarily geared towards students in the Hart School. They're geared towards other university students who are interested in music. So I know that Red Tail Records, which is our, they are a record club essentially on campus that helps students record their own music. They do open mic nights where they have people kind of like audition for them, and the e-board of that group will decide if, they want to team up with you to help you produce a song. So they do a lot of open mic nights in Hawk's Nest, which is one of our dining options on campus. And I know that Heat, which is the campus activities group, they do open mic nights. again, and those open mic nights, I've seen a poetry open mic night my freshman year I remember going to. Music is there's karaoke open mic nights. So there's lots of really fun ways to express yourself without being in the Hart School. And then for practice rooms, there are 60 plus practice rooms, and they're not, it depends on the day. I'm going to be honest with you. It depends on the day you're trying to get a practice room. Like the weekends, they're pretty empty because people can practice, in their room. But during the weekday, you just sign up for a 2-hour slot. There's there's a sheet on the door. You'll obviously hear if someone's in there usually, but people have 2 hours, and then the rule is they're supposed to leave and then they can come back later and finish. It's all kind of based on the honor system. I've never really had a problem with it. I've maybe had to wait like 10 minutes or something for a room to clear up, but we also have so many classrooms, and if there's no class taking place in one of the classrooms, you're allowed to sign out the classroom and practice in there as well.
Thank you, Haley. I know Mary wants to answer a question about the architecture program. Is it more technical or artistic?
So I think it's a good mesh of both. In your freshman year, you are completely working with your hands. We don't work on the computers until your sophomore year, fall semester. So something that is such a big project in your freshman year is the Pepper project, where you take still life photos of a pepper and you cut it in half, and you take all these different photos of it in different angles, and then you draw that pepper. And so that's some of the artistic developments that you get. You also mainly in freshman year, you're doing drawings about different aspects of architecture. So symmetry, a bunch of things. It's early. So a bunch of different ways that architecture is developed and how a building is set up. You're doing different drawings in terms of those. And then when you get into your sophomore year, you start working on the more technical side of architecture, which is AutoCAD and Revit and SketchUp to make quicker, a little bit more in depth about their measurements and stuff. So I think it's a really good mesh of both. We are called architectural design and technology. So if you kind of look at that, they're both right there, design and technology. So.
Awesome. Thank you, Mary. Kevin, someone wants to know a little bit about engineering programs and what computer operating system is recommended.
Windows, just simply Windows, for the reason that Mac and Apple and stuff like that can't run most of the programs or all the programs that we do use in engineering. But Windows will run absolutely any program. With that being said, a lot of the programs that we do have to use, most of them you don't have to pay for. They're actually free to us students here at UHart. I know that I just downloaded ComSol 5.5 for free because the university provides that for me. And I also just downloaded SolidWorks 2021 edition as well for free with a 2 years license on it. So programs like that are all free to us students, which is really dope. So that's why I get Windows if you're looking at engineering.
Awesome. Thank you, Kevin. Emily, someone asked about the food on campus and what there is to do for fun on and off campus.
So there's definitely options for everybody for food. We have vegan, vegetarian, kosher, all of that fun stuff, and they change every day in our cafeteria. So as a freshman, you usually get the 7-day all access swipe pass, so you can go in there as many times as you want. My favorite station is the made to order station when I was living on campus. It's made to order pasta, omelets, sushi. They've had Buddha bowls before. Just really good. You basically order it, whatever you want in it, and it's cooked right there in front of you, so it's nice and fresh. There's always salads and fruits. Usually always pizza, even in the morning sometimes. There's always ice cream, so put that on your waffles. It's pretty good. And you can mix it up and mix and match food, which is nice. We also have Hawk's Nest, which is kind of like a sports bar, but without the alcohol. So that's a good break up from Commons. We have a Starbucks, a Moe's, Burger Studio, and we have a little grocery store on campus as well. So there's lots of options for you, as well as Uber Eats and Domino's, stuff like that. As far as things to do off campus, I know there's an axe throwing place really close by, which has been fun to go to with friends. There's lots of walking trails and parks where you can go running. There's a couple close hiking trails close by. I like being outdoors club. Sorry about that. And then I know there's the painting classes, so not paint by numbers, but like a painting with a twist kind of scene. We're about halfway in between New York and Boston, so you can always take a weekend trip with your friends. And there are sometimes RHA will take you off campus to different sporting events as well. I know last year they went to a Celtics game, so that was pretty fun.
Awesome. Thank you, Emily. John, do you want to come in and talk a little about the job opportunities on campus?
Yeah, so there are plenty of jobs on campus. A lot of different places on campus hire, whether it's the library, the sports center, the dean's office. I know the dining halls definitely have, they hire as well. If you ever looking for a job on campus, you can head to Career Studio. You can also go, I believe, online. I think we have this platform now that you can go on and look for positions online as well. But there are plenty of job opportunities on campus.
Awesome. Thank you, John. Kev, I know you wanted to touch on that a little bit as well. Anything you want to add?
Yeah. Literally anywhere that you could possibly think that you could work at on campus, you can work at. They'll definitely be hired, like looking for student workers. Like I said, I'm an orientation leader, which is a job. I work for the admissions department, and I also work at the Center for Student Success. So literally anywhere you could possibly think, give it a shot, ask for an application. They're probably hiring. Fun fact, the library is actually the biggest employer of students on campus. So that's always a great place to start as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Kev. So questions seem to be dying down. So I'm just going to throw one more question out there for each of you guys to answer. We'll start with Mary and go from there. Can you tell us about one experience at the University of Hartford that you would not have expected to get when you started looking at the school?
Yeah, so probably becoming a tour guide in my freshman year was probably not something I expected to be able to do. There's not a lot of freshman tour guides, and I was still learning about the university when I got the job. So it was really, really cool experience to have in my freshman year. As well as I don't want to it was really cool to I got a first year student award last year, which was super astonishing. Like I didn't ever think I was able to do that. But I just tried to work hard to get involved, and I don't think I would have been able to get involved as much if I was at maybe a larger population school. I think the size of the school that we have is so conducive to the amount of stuff that you can get to do, and that a lot of people can get involved on campus. That even this year we have so many things happening over the weekends. Tonight we literally have a food truck festival coming to the university, and that's kind of put on with one of the clubs that I'm in Heat, so I can get volunteer with that. So all these things I maybe didn't think I was going to get to do at university, maybe my freshman year or my sophomore year. So there's so much. It's hard to talk all about.
Emily, how about yourself?
I mean, I agree with Mary. Going off of that, the RAD program is so intensive and you're off campus a lot at the hospital doing your clinical rotation. So just getting that experience, but also being able to be involved in a lot of clubs and meet a lot of people outside of my own major. I wasn't sure if I would have the time or the opportunities to do that, but the University of Hartford has a great balance over academics and recreational life, and I just love that part of campus.
Thank you very much, Emily. John?
I'm sorry. I totally agree with everything that's being said. I really just ditto to everything with academically, recreationally. So
Awesome. John, I know there was a question that came up too that you were going to just touch on quickly about someone asked specifically, we had an environmental club, and I know you're doing some research to dive into the SGA list of what we have available since there is so much. Do you mind talking a little bit to that?
yeah, so I don't believe I was actually, like you said, doing some research to see if we do have an environmental club. It seems like we do not, but through SGA, you can make a club. You need a few, really just a few people to just come to SGA and say, "Hi, I want to start a club." And there's like a whole process. You fill out the names, what you want to do, what's your statement, what do you want out of the club. And then I believe if there's enough people that are interested, you will receive funding from SGA. And just going off of clubs, there are over 100 clubs and organizations on campus to get involved in. There's literally almost something for everyone. As you can see, all of us are involved in at least something. But like I said, you can start something. If you look at the list and you say, hey, I want to start, I know one of the clubs that started a couple years ago was the Super Smash Bros. Club, which has become one of the like well-known clubs on campus that has really grown for the past couple years. So just for a few people walking into the SJ office saying, hey, I'm interested in this, can I start a club? It really just starts right there. So your club can turn out to like be very beneficial to the student body.
Thank you, John. Haley, you want to touch on something that you got to do that you didn't expect?
I would just say any of the like networking opportunities that I've been provided. It was pretty like, it was made very clear my first year here that the industry I was entering in, the music and kind of arts industry, was very reliant on networking and kind of who you know. And I was like, well, that's terrifying. But then they offered me all these opportunities to meet people. So now I have connections, like I said, at Pandora. I got to do an internship with a theater company back home in Maine this summer. All of my professors also work and have like real jobs outside of being professors. So I get to have their contacts. And it was something I definitely never expected to have, was that many contacts and people I could go to for references to help me with my career. And it's definitely something I'm really grateful now as I'm a senior thinking about post-college. So that was definitely my biggest surprise.
Thank you, Haley. Kevin?
Sorry, I wasn't unmuting there. Now, nothing really to add. I mean, the schools offered many different things. I've learned a lot from the school. Yeah, no, nothing really more to add.
Awesome. Isabel, any quick remarks?
Yeah, I was just gonna mention the study abroad program. That's kind of the one thing that I wasn't positive I was gonna be able to do coming to UHart because my program is so condensed. But the study abroad program really helped me figure out a location that I would be able to go to and still be able to meet all of my requirements for classes. And my advisor helped me a lot with that too. So I was able to study abroad, and I also have 2 minors, and I'm in a condensed program. So really the study abroad office is amazing. I would definitely recommend studying abroad and getting on top of that as soon as possible to make sure that it will fit into your schedule. So the earlier you do that, the better. And it was really the most amazing experience of my college experience so far. Yeah, so.
Awesome, Isabel. Thank you. With that being said, questions have died down a little bit. We're also running short on time. So I want to thank you all for joining us on the student panel. Thank you to all of our Red Key Society members for taking the time out of your morning to answer some questions from some prospective students. And we, as a group, hope that you continue to get some more and more benefit from this program. So thank you all again.
Hi, everyone. We are going to take a brief break. We will get started again at about 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Feel free to join us on Zeme while you're waiting.
All right, welcome back, everyone. My name is Shane Ciccarelli, and I am the Associate Dean of Admission here at the University of Hartford. Again, we're happy you are sticking with us and are joining us for this virtual open house. While we would, of course, love to have you on campus, currently the circumstances, as you know, won't allow that. So this is the next best thing, and we are just so excited to have so many of you here and participating through these programs throughout the morning. So we are on to our next event, a really cool opportunity to hear from a lot of my amazing colleagues in various areas on campus. This is called the Resource Round Robin, where you're gonna have the opportunity to just hear some quick features and exciting things that are happening in some of the key areas that impact student life on our campus. We know that when you come to college, it's all about academics, right? And that major that you're pursuing and that career that you are striving to achieve. But it's also about what your life is going to be like and the opportunities outside of the classroom and the services and features of a college campus that are available to you beyond the classroom. And so today, we are fortunate to have our colleagues with us that are going to be able to share with you some of those features. So we have representatives from our Center for Student Success, our health and wellness, residential life, study abroad, student engagement and inclusion, in our career and professional development. And each of them are going to quickly go around and have about 5 minutes to let you know what's going on in those areas and what are some of the cool features that they have that make the University of Hartford stand out and unique as you continue on in this college search. Immediately following this part of the program are going to be the college presentations, where you're going to be able to hear specifically from faculty, deans, students within the specific schools and colleges of the programs for what you're interested. So please be sure to stick around for that. That's going to be able to give you a deeper dive into those academic programs. But without further ado, I'm going to let this get started, this round robin, and kicking it off is going to be our Center for Student Success. So we'll jump right into it.
Thanks, Shane. Can you hear me? All good? All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Ormsby. I'm the director of our Center for Student Success. I'm really excited to join you here this morning. You can see on the slide right now, we have a beautiful brand new space, and we were able to get back into it earlier this semester. So we're excited to be back and in there, and we're excited to have many of you join us next year. I just want to put a quick shout out. One of the reasons that we have that brand new space, and many of you may have heard already or will be hearing soon about a building that's going in right next to us, a brand new building for science and health professions. Is a lot of that came about because of our president. And so our president recognized, with what students need on our campus, he listens to what they need. He listens to, people around him and suggestions on what to make it better. And so this new space and our office, the Center for Student Success, and the way that it's structured, is really I think a testament to his interest in reacting to students' needs and providing them the services that they need to make sure that they have what they need to be successful. So you'll see our contact information. If you have any questions, certainly please contact us. We're happy to answer any and all of your questions. So let me talk a little bit about the group that I get to represent today. So one of the things that we tried to create when we were developing our office is a one-stop shop. And as you can see, that's our goal, is to have a one-stop shop to empower students to build a foundation for successful academic, social, and personal growth. And so we focus a lot on the first year, but we certainly provide services throughout all 4 years, and to graduate students. So we wanted to make sure that, once students transition from high school to college, they had a person to go to. And those are our first year advisors. They act as a coach, an advisor, and an instructor. And so it's, rather than having to go to 3 or 4 different offices to try and find information, these people act as kind of your essentially a guide, your personal guide throughout your first year. And so they also teach a class called our First Year Success Seminar. And so it's a 1-credit class that allows you to meet with your advisor once a week and receive information that's going to help you be better prepared, both in all of your other classes and really to get integrated to the University of Hartford community. And so I like to call our first year advisors and our staff the all-star team, because they're, they really and truly, they can answer just about any question that you have. And so one of the other fantastic things about that group is, in addition to the knowledge that they carry and the access to all the systems that they have in order to provide our students really good information, is that they've worked on a lot of different areas around campus. And so they can easily ask questions of other people and pull in information if they don't have it. So our first year advisors are a fantastic group. And we also have some student support specialists who work on billing and payment information. And our first year advisors are cross-trained in that information as well. So one of our first year students can walk into our office. They can get suggestions on the classes that they're going to take next semester. They can get a question answered about how to study better. And then they can also have information shared that they might have a hold on their account, and be given information on how to remove that, and possibly even remove it right then and there. So a lot can be done all in one place by one person. And that's what I think, is a great point about our office. We also run orientation and liftoff programs. And so from the time that you make your deposit and become a University of Hartford student, we kind of take you through that next experience and through the first year. And we also make a lot of referrals to our tutoring center. We used to have it in-house in our space, and now it's operating out of the library. But again, if you need any kind of academic help, both time management and organization, and one of the things we cover a lot is the difference between studying for high school information and studying in the way that it's presented in colleges and universities. So connecting students to our tutoring center is something that we do very, very often, and help a lot of students there as well. So I look forward to all of your questions, and hopefully this gave you a little bit of a snapshot of all the wonderful things that we do in our Center for Student Success. So the next person up is from our accessibility office, Tracy Carlson. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Mike. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Tracy Carlson. I'm the Director of Accessibility Services. We are the Office for Students with Disabilities. So students, if you've had a 504 plan or an IEP in high school, once you get to the University of Hartford, you would work with our office. We provide traditional academic accommodations, as well as academic coaching support for our first year students with disabilities to help with the transition from high school to college, as well as general academic support. Next slide, please. So if you are a student who is seeking accommodations at the University of Hartford, the very first step is to submit documentation of a disability directly to our office after you apply to the university, are accepted, and make a decision to attend. IEPs and 504s, they're very helpful for us to see, but they are not considered sufficient documentation on their own at the college level. You can absolutely take a look at our website for our documentation guidelines. The type of documentation we require does depend on the nature of the disability, and you're welcome to call our office if you want specific guidance on that. So after you submit documentation, we start reviewing documentation every June, and then we contact students on their University of Hartford email by sending them a welcome email, inviting them to set up what we call an intake appointment. The intake, it happens anytime after July 1st every summer, And that's when we meet with the student. We talk about the nature and impact of the disability, and we set up their accommodations. After we meet with the student for an intake, we create a document called an accommodation letter. This is kind of what replaces the IEP or 504. And we send those out to faculty by email each semester. And students do need to request their accommodations each semester to kind of renew those accommodations. It is important to note that accommodations don't automatically transfer from high school to college, so they may look slightly different from what you've received in the past, though a lot of them will be the same. And the school doesn't automatically send your documentation to us, so that is something that you would request from them. We are happy to have phone consultations with students or parents about the specific services that your student is looking for, so you're always welcome to call our office. And if you have any specific questions for me now, go ahead and type them in the Q&A. Thank you.
You know, we think of us as the therapists on campus, or the counselors. We deal in all things mental health. We have 2 full-time psychologists on staff. We have a master's level clinician, and the bread and butter, I would say, of what we do primarily is provide individual therapy services for students, group therapy, limited medication, psychiatric services. And I would say we also provide a fair amount of consultation to faculty and staff to help students along with their mental health. As you might expect, you know, stress, anxiety tends to be a lot of what we see the students when they come to our office. It's very easy to make an appointment. You just shoot me an email, give our office a call. And right now with COVID, what we're doing is we're scheduling brief phone screenings to get a sense of what the student is looking for. And after the phone screening, we may recommend or refer the student to a full intake, which is a more detailed, thorough assessment of what the student might need. You know, the services are free in that they're covered under tuition. You don't have to pay any out of pocket. The services are we don't interface with insurances, so you don't have to worry about health insurance. And just like any other psychologist or therapist, our services are confidential. And so the students who meet with us, you know, without signing a release, we can't talk to anyone really, including parents. For students looking for something longer term or who might be struggling with something more severe, we have a case manager to help that student find providers off campus. And you know, always welcome to take questions from parents, students, faculty, staff about the services we provide, and try to provide some guidance in that area. Boy, I was planning on being quick, and I think I'm super quick, which isn't a bad thing. You know, right now we're providing telehealth services because of COVID. We're all hoping this ends soon and we'll get back to the in-person work. But we have people, you know, manning the counseling center in person to, you know, basically respond to any psychiatric emergencies that might arise. And so you're welcome to shoot me a message in the Q&A and ask me some questions. I'm happy to say more. Thank you very much. I think we're on to Max, Res Life.
Thanks, Jeff. Good afternoon or good morning, everyone, based upon where you are. My name is Max Koskov. I use he, him, his pronouns, and I am the Assistant Director for Residential Life here at the University of Hartford. So happy you're here today. I'm here to talk a little bit about what it is like to live on campus. So our halls are set up in 2 different styles. The first style that I'd like to talk to you all about is our neighborhood style. Our neighborhood style is more of a traditional style hall in which each neighborhood has 4 buildings, and each building has roughly 18 students per floor. The floors are single gendered, and then there's usually 2 RAs per floor or per building. Sorry about that. In addition, though, what's really nice about these buildings is that the basements and the common spaces have all recently been renovated last year to make more of a community feeling. So we have a video game lounge in one, we have 2 billiards tables, we have nice lounging couches, if you will, in which all of these spaces really make you feel at home and really allow for spontaneous community interactions. In each room across our first year area has a XL twin bed, a desk, a chair, built-in drawers, and closet space. So you get a full range of room, as well as each first year area, or each first year student, I should say, has built-in air conditioning, in addition to we use a Xfinity on demand through our internet TV. So everyone kind of gets a little bit of everything. Our next type of hall, if you can click the slide, Katie, is our Hawk Hall. Our Hawk Hall is a single style corridor residence hall, and there are 50 students per floor. They share a common bathroom, and there are 8 resident assistants per this building. There are lounges, there are some TV lounges, there are some study rooms per the floor, and then the laundry in this building is per floor. Hawk Hall is a very unique building in the sense that if you succeed really well in a style that allows you to have people right outside your door 24 hours a day, and you can hear, and you are a social butterfly, then Hawk Hall is for you. If you are someone who is more reserved and really isn't a huge fan of noises 24/7, then the neighborhoods are for you. It really just matters on what is the best living environment for you to succeed here as a student. Additionally, just things that residential life does overall is really, we are your access point and your point of contact for anything on the residential side of campus. We have over 80 RAs on staff. Each area has its own professional staff member. And we do programs on weekends. I heard in the student panel, someone was talking about the food truck festival tonight. That's partnering our office with our Hartford events and activities team. We've been doing large scale programs over the past couple of weekends. Residential life is really the best way, or one of the ways I should say, for any student to get involved here on campus and coming out to these events that we have on campus. And I think that is my time. So I'm gonna pass it on over to Megan. I am looking forward to answering your questions in the chat because I know they'll exist. And again, welcome. And we also have a bonus session on Tuesday night for you to hear from some of our RAs. So please be on the lookout for that. Have a great day, everyone.
Hi, everyone. My name is Megan Murphy-Rennie, and I am the Assistant Director for Education Abroad here at the University of Hartford. And on the website, you can see our link to our website, so hartford.edu/study abroad. I'd just like to highlight this photo is from a student who studied abroad in Nepal, and the next photo on the following slide is a student who is in Ireland. But I'm just going to talk to you about a couple of facts about study abroad here at the University of Hartford. Unlike other institutions, every single University of Hartford student is eligible to study abroad. So that means anyone within any of the 7 colleges, any double or triple majors. We have honors, athletes, commuter students, transfer students, international students, etc., who have all studied abroad successfully. And the big thing here is to plan. So if you're out there, if you're an architecture major, engineering, nursing, kind of any of the health professions, education, music and art, just trying to think of some other difficult majors that students might think they can't study abroad in. We actually have had students from every one of those populations. We have programs that are short term, so anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks. We have full semester and full year, Depending on a student's academic schedule and track, you can actually study abroad multiple times. So we've had plenty of students who have participated in our first year experience over the summer at the end of the first year, who have then gone on to do other short-term programs or full semester programs. We also allow students to use most, if not all, of their financial aid packages on any of the UHeart approved programs. And you might not find that at other institutions that you're looking at. So that's something to keep in mind. You can also apply for additional scholarships or grants through our office and through our programs overseas, as well as our program providers. So there's always additional opportunities for students if you're looking to have an affordable study abroad experience. We don't have a language requirement, so you can study abroad almost anywhere without having any previous experience in a particular language. And to highlight that, the student on the previous slide went to Nepal and she didn't know a word of the local language, but she was able to have a successful semester. You can also learn a language, and we do have some programs where you can take 3 semesters worth of a language over that course of a 1 semester. So if you're hoping to become fluent in a certain language, this is a great opportunity for you as well. In addition to studying abroad, you can also do internships, research programs, you can teach abroad, you can do service learning or volunteering as well. So there are a lot of opportunities that you can add on to the traditional study abroad experience, whether it's a short-term or full semester. The other thing I'd like to point out is that with proper planning, students can graduate on time and do study abroad programs. We had an accounting student who studied abroad for a full semester and did a short-term program, and he ended up graduating a full semester early. So it's a great opportunity for students, again, with proper planning. And the last point on this slide is that only 10% of US college students choose to study abroad. It's a smaller percentage of students who choose to do internships, etc. So if you have one of these experiences, it's a great point to put on your resume, and it could help you get a job in the future. Next slide, please. This slide is a list, or really a map of all the countries where we currently offer programs for students. So you can see that there's a lot of variety out there across the globe, and we do have some programs where you can travel to multiple countries as part of the program, and we also have some programs based within the United States. We work with Hawaii Pacific University in Hawaii and with American University's Washington semester program down in Washington, DC. So you can have the study abroad experience without actually leaving the United States. The other thing I'd like to point out is that we also have virtual programming as well. So that's an up and coming option for students, particularly surrounding COVID, but we think those options will be here to stay. And we did actually have a few business students who completed virtual internships over the summer last year. We are always happy to answer questions, so please feel free to drop them in the chat or Q&A function. And if you have any questions, you can find us on the website, and we do have a virtual office and a virtual study abroad ballroom if you'd like to explore our options further. Thank you and have a great rest of your day.
Hello, my name is Lanya Jackson. I'm the director for the Office of Student Engagement and Inclusion. Thank you so much for being here. I want to talk to you about our office and what we have to offer students. So our office was established July 2019, bringing together different departments, the Office of Greek Life, Office of Multicultural Programs, Community Service, Student Activities, and SGA. Most of the activities that happen within our office is engagement that occurs outside the classroom. And as Max stated earlier, we coordinate most of our activities with the Office of Residential Life. So we're responsible for 100+ clubs and organizations, commuter services, diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, Greek life, leadership development, student government, volunteer opportunities, and our Hartford events and activities team put on activities so students can feel engaged on campus. Within those 100 clubs and organizations, students can always be engaged with affinity and identity groups. If there's a club on campus that that does not meet your needs, identity, you can create an organization. And you can do that through the work of our student government. We're responsible for engaging commuter students, presenting activities for them to participate on campus. There's a commuter student association, and you can participate in that organization as a commuter. Our diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives include our formerly multicultural organizations who come together Now we have about 16 organizations that is focused on diversity and equity. So culturally and identity groups are under this auspices. Greek life, we have 5 sororities and 7 fraternities on campus. If you're interested in Greek life, you can participate. As a first year student, you are not able to participate until the spring semester in the Greek life. Leadership development, this happens through our student government, and we offer students the opportunity to be part of organizations and be in a leadership capacity. You can run for office in the Student Government Association, and elections are held annually, and you can participate in developing your leadership skills there, as well as in any of the clubs or organizations on campus. Through our community service initiatives, you can participate with off-campus organizations, as well as volunteer opportunities on campus. We work closely with financial aid to offer students work-study opportunities where they can develop, again, leadership skills, but also have volunteer opportunities. Our Hartford Events and Activities team, short name for that is the HEAT. Formerly, our campus activities team puts on events on campus so students feel engaged. And Max talked about the food truck festival that's happening this afternoon on campus. That's just one of the activities that they are responsible for. If you have any questions about student engagement and inclusion on campus, please put it in the Q&A. And I'm gonna pass it on to my colleague and friend, Brooke Penders, from the Office of Career and Professional Development. Thank you.
Thanks, Lanya. Hi, everybody. I'm Brooke Penders. I'm the Executive Director of the Career and Professional Development Department. We are located in the beautiful Gengris Student Union. And you can see it there in the top picture, actually 2 pictures of it there. Unfortunately, not a lot of people coming by lately, but that doesn't mean we aren't hard at work helping you figure out what your career path might look like. We have dozens of workshops that are happening online. And we will be doing some select socially distanced events in the Career Studio in the not too distant future. We have a dedicated team of career professionals who are around to help you kind of decide where you're headed. Some people come in with a fire in their belly, knowing exactly what they want to do and how they want to get there. And other people just have a lot of different skills and interests, and we help them figure out how they can apply those. And one of the ways in which we do that are industry networking events and resume boot camps. We want to make sure that you get a chance to ask questions of our very broad alumni network, our contacts in industry, and then give you a chance to kind of test out your resume and your interviewing skills and your networking skills with people who have identified as being friendly to Hawks. And it's a very kind of casual environment where you can kind of be yourself and figure out what's your personal brand, what's your elevator pitch, and those are all things we can work on in the Career Studio and in our virtual programming. We do at least 3 career fairs every year. Right now, we have 2 coming up in October, and they are going to both be virtual. The great thing about virtual events is you can actually get exposure to more employers. Do more exploration, and you don't have to be looking for an internship or a job to attend any of our career fairs. It's a great way to explore and ask people in industries about how they got there, what they like about it, and how they might see someone with your major or your interests playing out and fitting into their organizations. We also have access to an online employment platform called Handshake. Every University of Hartford student gets one, and it gives you an opportunity to explore and apply for internships and jobs nationwide. So we have a lot of opportunities for you to explore what might be for you post-college. That sometimes might be grad school, that might be a very specific job with industry, and it could be something that you don't even know about yet. And again, that's why we are there. We've also had students who came in saying, I very much want to be an engineer, and then they come in and say, you know what, I'm not sure engineering's for me, can you help me pivot? So along with our friends in the Center for Student Success and others, we help students navigate what might be some changing interests. But no matter what your scenario is, we are there to help students explore, prepare, and transition to life after college. So we are always around, online and on ground. And I think now is a good time to send it back to Shane. Thanks, everybody.
Again, I'm sorry about that. I forgot to unmute myself during that. It is the challenges of Zoom fatigue, I guess. So let me recap. I want to again thank all of our panelists. Thank you for the information that you've shared, and this is a great time to ask questions. So please utilize that Q&A and put any questions out there for my colleagues here, if you should have any, about any of the different areas that they spoke to today. But also, we will shortly be getting ready to send you off to the college and program-specific presentations. But before we do that, there are a couple of questions we do want to address. Max, I'm going to actually jump to you for a moment. I know that some of these were answered in the chat, but just a little bit more elaboration. Obviously, I think certainly because of the circumstances around the pandemic, there are several questions around what the bathroom arrangements are, and then also single occupancy rooms. Can you elaborate a little bit more on students requesting singles, and obviously what we did in the unique circumstances of this year, but what a typical year would typically look like with respect to single requests?
Absolutely, Shane. And again, great questions. So our typical year is first-year students who need singles for medical or emotional well-being support can request that through our Dean of Students office, and our person who takes care of that is Suzanne McNeil. That would be after, though, you go through the actual housing application and process. During that, though, you would indicate that you have a medical need for that single process. And then we would work with you or Suzanne, I should say, would work with you to figure out what your specific need is and how do we accommodate that need. In regards to how we kind of create community within those singles, it's really, again, based upon you're not necessarily in a single by yourself, you're still part of that floor and part of that community. So that is really the single process. Now, again, with COVID being a little bit different and the world flipped upside down a little bit, we did, for safety reasons, we were able to give singles out to first-year students this year. And again, just because you're not in a single your first year doesn't mean you won't eventually get in a single your sophomore, junior, or senior year. We have a traditional style residence hall in our F neighborhood, which actually is a majority of singles. And our Regents Park suites are a lot of singles. So just because you're not in a single upfront in your first year doesn't mean that you won't be able to have that. And actually, one of the things we're finding this year amongst the pandemic is actually our first year students think they want singles, but then they actually are asking us for room changes because they want to be with someone. They want that traditional college experience and they want a roommate. So don't just pivot towards a single just because that's the way you've always lived your life. Embrace the idea of sharing and creating a space with someone else. Now, as for the bathrooms, again, great question now that we're amongst a pandemic. So our bathroom setup is in our traditional style neighborhoods. There's 2 bathrooms per floor, again, shared amongst that 18. Within that bathroom, within each bathroom, I should say, there are 2 sinks, 2 showers, and 2 toilets. The bathrooms are single gendered, again, because the floor in a traditional style neighborhood is single gendered. In a hall call, the bathrooms, again, are for that entire floor, and there's each gender bathroom amongst that floor. And in the hall call bathrooms, they are 3 sinks, 4 showers, 4 toilets per gender. And the interesting thing, not interesting thing, the bathrooms are cleaned each day by one of our in-house custodial staff. So every day someone will come in and maintenance and service the bathroom. Shane, do we think I hit everything on that one?
I do, Max. Thank you. That's helpful. I see you got a couple of other questions out there. I'll let you jump in and grab those. I'm going to bounce it over to Megan for a minute on a question around study abroad, if she can pop on. Megan, there are questions, and there was a question specifically about studying abroad as a Hart student, but I think it actually opens a broader question around how study abroad is structured for students across many different majors, right? We have majors that have different types of requirements at different points in the semesters, and so students that are really looking for the opportunity to study abroad, but obviously are concerned about it actually fitting into their academic course load. I know the university's done an awesome job of really trying to create a very flexible study abroad program that has lots of different options and possibilities. Can you just talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, it does depend on the student's individual major. Some majors are more restrictive than others. So the only opportunity would be a short-term program over summer or winter or spring break. Others, it's very flexible. And to give you an example of that, so education students, typically the only time they could do a full semester abroad would be the sophomore spring semester. However, they could do short-term programs outside of that. So we had a student who spent, she did a spring break her first year and a spring break program her junior year, and she spent her sophomore spring semester abroad in South Africa. So that's one option or one example. For music students, I know that came through. It depends on the major within the music school, but in general, every single Hartford student would have to take a general education course or one of the university interdisciplinary studies courses. And you can find those on any of the programs, whether it's a semester or short-term program. But the thing I would recommend most is that if students are even considering it just a little bit, is to come into our office or to talk to your first year advisors and get some information about your particular program. Because some of them, as with education, as with PT, engineering, they typically want you to do that your sophomore year. So you do need to kind of plan ahead. And if you wanted to choose a location that doesn't offer the classes that you need, oftentimes students can rearrange their schedules a little bit. So the earlier you do that, the better. An example of that is the accounting student I mentioned during my presentation. He could not take accounting classes overseas just because it's US-based accounting. So he was able to arrange his schedule, push some of the required accounting classes to a different semester, and then took all electives when he studied abroad. So that's another option as well. So I think that covers it. Shane?
Yes, thank you so much. That was great. And there is another question out here around the topic of being assigned a roommate and obviously selecting your room. So I'm going to answer part of that, and then certainly Max, if you want to jump back on and fill in any blanks. And then actually I want to kick it over to Mike Ormsby because I think it's a good question about really that transition from the time a student makes the decision to enroll at the University of Hartford and where the Center for Student Success is helpful in that process. So what will happen is after students are admitted to the University of Hartford, they are then invited to complete the enrollment deposit. The enrollment deposit is ultimately the time when the student says, yes, I will be enrolling. It's certainly a very exciting time for the student, and it's a very exciting time for us at the university because we really begin to watch our incoming class come together as to who's enrolling. And so when you make that enrollment deposit, you pay a small deposit fee, which is included in there is a housing deposit, which secures your residential space on campus. Once you complete that deposit process, you then are prompted to complete what we call our housing application. It's an online system where you complete a housing application, which has a roommate questionnaire in there and talks a little bit about your living preferences. So not only can you tell us what your preferences are as far as the type of roommate you might like to have, but also what are your living habits and the type of lifestyle you kind of lead. Are you a clean person? Are you not so clean in your dorm room? What type of music do you like? Things along those lines. And then Residential Life works extremely hard to then assign residential spaces as well as matching up roommates and notifying students over the summer prior to their arrival as to when as to where they will be living and introducing them to their roommate so that they can get connected in advance of arriving on campus. Max, before I talk to Mike about a few other things on that transition side, is there anything else you want to fill in on the roommate room assignment process?
Yeah, the only thing I think I'd like to add, and that was a great rendition, Shane, thank you for that, is that part of that housing application includes a questionnaire. And the questionnaire is a really important questionnaire for the student to fill out by themselves. So it talks about what your true style of living is like. So do you like the temperature hot, cold? Are you a smoker? Are you a morning person or a night person? This way we can best compare and match roommates to people who are like them. We don't match people by majors off the bat. I know that's a relatively big question because we want you to explore people who are not of the same major. Part of college is learning all about not only who you are as a person, but other parts of the campus community and other parts of academia. So that's an important part for us. I do want to, however, preference that if you find someone through this process, through ZME, through orientation, we can work to match the two of you and pair the two of you together, assuming that you both request one another. And then there is a process, so that way, if Shane and I wanted to room together and we met each other at orientation, the two of us could email Res Life saying, I want to live with Shane, and then Shane emails saying, I want to live with Max, and then both of us can be paired together. So we do have that option up and through the orientation sessions.
Great, thank you, Max. Mike, I want to kick it over to you as well with a couple of questions, but first let me just reiterate something Max said about ZME. I know you guys have been hearing about it, and I want to again encourage you to download that app if you haven't already and engage in our ZME community. It's a great opportunity, especially in this virtual world that we're all kind of living in right now, to be able to connect and engage with other students that are interested in the University of Hartford. And the really cool thing about ZME is that it will stay active all the way through the enrollment process, right up to the summer. We even this past summer used it for orientation. Mike's nodding his head there, right? Knowing the activity that we had in there. So you get to meet students now, and you actually get to continue to interact with them right up through the time that they may decide to enroll at the University of Hartford. And you just have a great opportunity to connect and engage and really feel like you are becoming part of the community even before you get here, which is just a really, really cool thing. Mike, I think sometimes students look at the admission process, right, and all of the information they're given and all of the guidance that they have and kind of all the energy and enthusiasm that admission staff have, and sometimes wonder, does that go away the moment I decide to enroll? And I think because of what we have here with the Center for Student Success and the staff that are there, it's actually quite the opposite. I think that enthusiasm and engagement only ramps up even more as students arrive and kind of what we talk about as that handoff, right, to actually becoming an actual student on campus takes place. Can you talk about some of the things your team has in place for students as they actually make that decision to enroll and what they might expect to happen at that point in time?
Yeah, definitely. So just a mention about the energy. Actually, we keep siphoning people from the admission office. So I think some of that that energy is naturally carried over. We have 6 or 7 people, I think, who have been in admission in the past.
And thanks for that again.
Shane just trains them so well, and then they just find our office. So I think that's a big part of it is they understand the admission experience, what students are going through in making that decision and interacting with our admission office, and so they just naturally understand the transition. So I think that's a really big part of it. But in terms of, when you're making that transition, a number of different things. So orientation is a really big piece of it. So after making your deposit, and even leading up to that, if you have specific questions about programs, if you're interested in a number of different programs, we have folks on our staff who can talk to you a little bit about that and, help you develop some pros and cons, can talk to you a little bit about ways to maneuver throughout that college in order to make your experience what you want it to be. But then we work with first year students. We develop your schedule for the first semester. We send out a survey for you to provide us feedback with time preferences, what you have going on outside of classes, a lot of other different things, classes that you might have taken in high school, and be able to provide some preferences for when we're putting together that schedule. During orientation, we break that information down. And then, leading into the fall semester is obviously our first year success seminar class. And that's really where, you're able to answer, you have a point person. Where if you have a question about res life or about accessibility or about really anything else on campus, we've had the experience of answering some of those questions, certainly, but we're also able to make that personal connection and get you, the answer that you need or the assistance that you need. And so we're here and available throughout that summer. And so I know a lot of questions come up between when you make that deposit and between then and orientation, and then certainly between orientation and the start of the semester. And that's where our office is there to really help out and answer all the questions that you have. And so, as we talked about, we have some really wonderful people and really excellent high levels of experience and people who are able to do that.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Of course.
Brooke, are you still with us? I want to just kick one more question to you, I think, before we run out of time and have to then jump over to our college and school sessions. But real quick, you mentioned when you started earlier about how there isn't as much activity as there typically would be, obviously, in your space, as a result of the pandemic. But I certainly remember walking through Gengger Student Union and seeing, groups of students with individuals presenting and not only in your space, but even outside your space, and just a lot of cool opportunities that students get that they don't often necessarily think about when they think about career counseling and career services, if you will, through the college process, right? We always talk about how the old school kind of traditional college career services office was, here's how you put a resume together, here's some good interview skills, but you've transformed that, right? It's totally different at the University of Hartford, and it's an opportunity for students to actually begin engaging in their first year. And I think I want to make sure that you just have an opportunity to reiterate that the Career Studio and the services that are provided are not something that are there for the seniors or for the juniors, but they are there for students that are first year students, not only that they could, but they should engage with from the moment they arrive on campus. And what are some of those things you would like to see first year students engage with when they arrive on campus as a new student?
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity to reinforce that, Shane. Yes, I'm a firm believer that first year students should be in our space, on our website, and engaging with us in as many ways as are applicable to them. We do have a really nice relationship with Mike Ormsby and the Center for Student Success. The US 190 class has some opportunities to kind of learn about what's offered in the Career Studio. I'm a big fan that no matter if you know exactly what you want to do or you're still trying to figure that out, that one of the best things you can do as a first year student is to better understand yourself. And I think once you have a better understanding of who you are and how you operate, you can do a better job of exploring. So we offer a personality assessment, and then sessions used to be in the Career Studio where groups of students could come together and kind of dissect what their results meant and what certain personality types, what jobs or careers or tracks might be appropriate for you. So we also try and give people a chance to be their authentic selves, no matter what they're going to study. There's no one right way to network, and how you talk with people and how you present yourself is really part of your own personal brand, and how throughout the transactional things of you making sure your resume looks good, making sure you have a robust LinkedIn, making sure you're utilizing Handshake. How do you want to be seen in the world? And we can help you do those kinds of things, and we can connect you with people who have traveled a similar path to you. Our alumni network is phenomenal, and we normally had alums come in, or we sent students out to where they work. We're having to, you know, not do that as much, but we are really concerned about you as a whole person, and that when you graduate from the University of Hartford, that not only you're going to make an impact wherever it is you might land, but you are also really confident in who you are, knowing what you want and how you're going to contribute. So yeah, Shane, I wish we could have more people. We had a couple of events in the Career Studio where the fire marshal probably wouldn't have been too happy, but we were thrilled that there were students there who really wanted to hear what we were offering. And so I also put this out to people, freshmen and otherwise. We are open to students' ideas. And if there's something that we're not offering that students think would be helpful, we're always open to that too. But right now, playing the kind of straddle game of in studio and online as best we can. But thank you for the opportunity to reiterate that, yes, first year students really can and should check out what's happening in the Career Studio on ground and online.
Awesome, thank you. And I want to again take this opportunity to thank all of our participants today in this round robin. I do know that there are a few more questions lingering out there. We'll make sure that those get answered directly in the Q&A. Max, I think there's a few more out there for residential life specifically, if you see those and want to grab those. But again, we'll make sure that we get those answered in the Q&A. We do need to get you guys moving on to the college breakout sessions where you can learn more specifics about the academic programs in the schools and colleges. So you will see on your screen the URL and the breakout sessions that we have. And so either from your confirmation email that you have or from this screen, please make sure that you use the link to navigate over to the specific breakout session that you would like to participate in today. This is going to be a great opportunity, again, to hear from faculty, current students, the deans of our schools and colleges, and learn a lot about the academic side of our campus and the programs to what you're interested in. So thank you for participating in this round robin. You guys can all start heading over to those breakout sessions now. They are there ready and waiting for you. And we will wish you a wonderful day. And again, thank you for participating in our virtual open house. Real quick, if you are an undecided student, we would encourage you to go ahead and attend the College of Arts and Sciences breakout session. I do see that question there. Attend the College of Arts and Sciences breakout session if you are interested as an undecided student.